Hey everybody, I'm back with another video. You guys remember last time I remarked on a second video. This is that second video. This one's gonna really spill the beans, if you will. This is the things that resellers and hypebeasts don't want you to know. People like, I'm not gonna mention any names, but they are basically encouraging kids to spend $1,000 on a pair of these right now. Well, those in particular aren't going for $1,000. They're going more for $600, but you could probably get them for $550 if you go through the right people. But anyway, this is the absolute truth behind fake Yeezys and real Yeezys, or really any sneaker for that matter. Let me just come right off the rip and say all this stuff is made in China. All of it is made in China. By the way, I'm coming at you at 60 frames a second at 1080p resolution. But all of these things are made in China. These shoes, retail or unauthorized / gray market, they all come from China. In China, before these things are made, Adidas looks for the lowest possible cost to make these shoes. And in China, there are a group of factories competing for the lowest possible bid. The race to the bottom, and who can make these shoes for the lowest possible cost. Because when Adidas, or really any company that's really ever existed, except for, you have your exceptions here and there, but for the most part, when these companies outsource their jobs to China, especially stuff like this, shoes, clothing as well, these companies are looking to make these things at the lowest possible cost. The very lowest. You have, for example, 3 or 4 factories that say, our workers will do this for $3.50 an hour. Our workers will make this for $2.50 an hour, $2.25 an hour, $2 an hour, $1.50 an hour. And then comes the best possible offer. And for example, the best offer is 98 cents an hour, $1.10 an hour. And of course, that factory is going to win the lowest bid, because the whole point of these people outsourcing these jobs to China is to save money, save manufacturing costs. And this is why you see stuff that come out from China, like these shoes, like Jordans too. They all come out with some type of flaw, some type of imperfection, some type of defect that they still sell the shoes with. You look at any pair of Jordans nowadays, for the most part, Jordans nowadays, they come out with very bad leather, very stiff leather. However, lately, some of the 4s that have come out lately, like the Pure Money 4s, the Alternate Motorsport 4s, the black and basically a Crip Bread 4. Those came out with decent leather. They came out with really nice leather. The Jordan 1 Sail, they came out with really nice leather as well. I actually really love the Sail ones. I kind of want to pick a pair of those up. But for the most part, Jordan quality, and even aside from the leather, let's not even talk about the leather, the whole construction of the shoe, you have glue marks everywhere. You have imperfections in the cuts. Back in the day when a Jordan 11 released, how did you check if they were retail or not? You checked if it had peaks in the patent leather. And now Jordan 11s nowadays come with peaks on them, on the patent leather, on the edges of the patent leather, up by the toe box, up by the part where the patent leather meets with the leather of the heel area, if you know what I'm talking about. The part that has the Jumpman on the back, you might find a peak there as well. And you can no longer check if a shoe is retail or not, especially a Jordan 11, if it has peaks. So of course, even the quote-unquote real shoes are coming out with flaws, with defects of all types. And another thing too, you can talk about all the replicas, the fakes, whatever. They all have defects. They are all different. They're different from retail pairs. But retail pairs also have their flaws. They also have their defects. They have things that are wrong with them. You guys remember Yeezy Busta when he bought the Core White and the Core Black Yeezy Boost 350 V2? That had a defect. You guys remember that? it had a defect. The back stripe was not aligned, and that was a retail pair. These Chinese workers make $1 an hour. You really think they're gonna care about making the stuff as perfect as they are meant to be? No. So that's one thing. The second thing is these factories that compete for this bid. Of course, only one factory is going to win that bid. But these other factories already have the machinery, they already have the equipment to make this stuff, the tools needed. Adidas came out with the Zebra Yeezy Boost 350 V2 on March, I don't know the exact date. And then they re-released on the 24th of June. They came out with 30,000 additional pairs of these things, and the resale dropped to half. 30,000 pairs came out in retail shops, online and physical. Now the thing though is, these gray market UA sneakers, not just Yeezys, but Jordans and other types of shoes that Nike makes, that Adidas makes, they are getting authentic OEM product from the main factories. These so-called replica factories, they're getting the authentic material from the main factories that make the real thing. They talk about 30,000 extra pairs, but they have all of this excess material that these Chinese workers who make $1 an hour take and make these shoes with. Sometimes the materials are marked as defective. Sometimes the Chinese workers just outright steal the supplies for them to make. The same effing people who make the real thing are making these things right here. The UA gray market pair of shoes. The same people, sometimes. The same exact freaking people. The same pair of hands. The same pair of eyes that are scanning for the details. The same people in China. These people, again, they make no more than $1 an hour, maybe $1.50 an hour, $1.25 an hour. You think that these guys aren't gonna make their own shoes and sell for $180 on a Chinese website? Come on, use your head. Of course they're gonna go out and make the authentic stuff in another factory with authentic prime knit, authentic boost. Everything about this shoe is Adidas OEM quality. And why is that? Because it is Adidas OEM materials. This is Boost on the bottom. This is prime knit. You can look at it and tell that it's prime knit. I've overviewed these shoes a lot to really see what these UAs are about, because not only did I want to see what this stuff was about, I just wanted to get a pair for myself, because for these reasons I'm not going to spend $500, $600, $700 because for whatever reason Yeezy Boost 350 V2s are on the rise in terms of resale value again. I don't know why. Did they just decide to destroy half the pairs in the world and they went up in value because they're more rare now? I don't freaking know. So these shoes are going to get rocked. I love these things. These things are freaking awesome. When you go onto a Chinese website and you see shoes like this that are marked as authentic, it's not because they're retail, but it's because that they're made with authentic OEM materials. Sometimes even made in the same factory as the retail. Some of the time it's in another factory. Some of the times it's in the same assembly line as the retail pairs that you see in Champs, that you see at Foot Locker. The select few locations that had these things. Now, the West Farms Mall in West Hartford had the Adidas Yeezy Boost 350 V2 Zebra when they re-released. And during their initial release, I'm not too sure if they had them, but during their re-release, they had them. They had a few pairs, which was surprising. It's like, wow, Connecticut really never gets Yeezys for the most part. They just get the more widely available releases, which this was. The re-release was a more general release, if you will. The Yeezy Boost 350 V2 that they call the Breads, you know, the primarily black pair with the red text on the side, those came out in Eblens in Connecticut. Oh, and speaking of Eblens, seemingly every Eblens in the state of Connecticut had at least a few pairs of these things for their re-release. And the third thing too, let's talk about what fake really means, what fake meant back in the day, and by all technicalities and definitions still means. A fake shoe is basically a replication of an authentic shoe, a retail shoe, a gray market shoe, an unauthorized authentic shoe. With different materials, they just take the mold of the main shoe and they make their own shoe with that mold, but with different materials. That's a replica. They are replicating stuff for that shoe. They are replicating prime knit. They are replicating the outsole. They're replicating the boost. They're replicating this pull tab here. They're replicating the laces. Those are fakes. Those are replicas. But this stuff here is made with authentic materials. OEM materials from the Adidas factory in China, the main one. So what exactly is this replicating? This is not replicating prime knit. This is not replicating boost. This is not replicating the outsole. This is not replicating the pull tab. It's not replicating anything when it's the real thing. This boost is so freaking soft. I can't get over it. It's so satisfying. It's not copying anything. The materials here are not copies of another material. It's the material. It's the boost. By definition, they're not replications of anything. They're not fakes of anything, because that's not fake prime knit. That's not fake boost. Those aren't fake shoelaces. Those are Adidas materials that they're making these shoes with, either in the same factory or in another factory in China. There was this really good video inside of I believe the Perfect Kicks factory, where they were using the same time out. Is that good? Come on, stand up. Come on. There we go. Anyway, this is like some paranormal activity type of stuff. Like I just walked past it and it falls over. But anyway, as I was saying, these Chinese factories are obtaining these materials to make on their own, to sell at their own prices. What is the difference between a retail shoe and an unauthorized authentic / gray market pair of shoes? In this case, some Yeezys, but this applies to Jordans as well. They are not meant to be within a trade channel between the factory and a retail shop, such as a Champs or a Foot Locker or Eblin's. They are in a trade channel, these things, with the or a factory in China and the buyer who's buying these things. So I was on the receiving end of a trade channel. That trade channel being a factory in China that made the shoe, and myself. That's the only thing that's really different about these things versus a retail pair that is being sold for $500, $600, $700. That's the only difference. A trade channel is basically as it sounds. What is a channel, you say? It's like a pipeline, if you will. That pipeline being the factory and the retail shop. But this isn't going to a retail shop. It has nothing to do with the shoes themselves. These shoes are not authorized to be sold by Adidas. Adidas never intended for these shoes to be sold. Sometimes these Chinese workers steal the shoes themselves to sell at their own prices from the same assembly line. Like I said, there is an Instagram plug. I'm not going to mention his name, but to those who know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. He has a guy in China who steals the shoes for him, sends it over to him, or maybe the guy himself is in China and he steals the shoes himself to sell as a private seller on Instagram. You guys know who I'm talking about. I'm not gonna beat around the bush. You guys know who it is that I'm referring to. Complex reported on this a few years ago when a couple of Vietnamese workers in a Nike factory in Vietnam stealing already made shoes to resell privately. But these Chinese workers will take this shoe and sell it by themselves. These shoes are not in a trade channel between A/the factory in China and a retail shop. They're in a trade channel between a factory in China / the factory in China to a buyer. See, the thing is Foot Locker and Champs, they only facilitate the sale of sneakers. They don't make the shoes. They don't make really anything. Champs might have their own brands, but that's for the most part clothing, like CSG. I believe that's a Champs brand that Champs bought out, or that Champs started. CSG, I believe, stands for Champs Sports Gear. I'm not totally sure. I have a pair of their joggers upstairs, and they're freaking awesome. You guys have seen me wear them a couple times. They're really nice. They were priced pretty average for a quality pair of joggers such as those. But anyway, Champs doesn't make shoes. They're just the middleman for a sale. And that's where that whole unauthorized thing comes in. And this is why you see Champs Sports and Foot Locker's pairs going for $220 retail. Good luck finding that nowadays, by the way. You have to have a really good friend to do that for you, because Adidas wants to make their profit, the factory workers want to make the very little profit that they get, and Champs and another retail shop, they want their cut as well. So they are priced a little higher because they want a respectable cut for these things. That's really the only difference between this pair of shoes and a retail pair of shoes. Just who it's sold to, who's facilitating a sale, and sometimes it's not even different people making them, it's the same freaking people who make the real thing. But you have hype beasts, Omar, and their buddies, the resellers, the consignment shops, not telling you these things because this ultimately results in a diminished profit, or at least delayed profit, because these shops are always going to have their clientele regardless of who they are, what they hear, what they see, what they read about. Because I could be educating some of these people with a video like this. Colin Kaepernick or Rob Dalla or Danny Oceans could be educating people about this issue, but they are small-time YouTubers. They're not reaching a broader audience. At the very least, Colin Kaepernick has a video that went semi-viral called Why I Buy Replicas. I think it was part 2 or the first part, but it has 250,000 views. And a month ago, he had like 4,000 subs. Now he's at 8,000, which is incredible. Congratulations, Colin Kaepernick. I congratulate you, and that channel is going to do great things. I know it. Just keep educating people, bro. Because honestly, this world and society, the people within the society are programmed to believe a certain way. Because like dogs, they are being taught through repetition, through rhetoric, and they're not really thinking for themselves. They're just thinking by order of other people. But I Congress, these hype beasts and these resellers, these sneaker shops, they discourage this stuff. Because if they just came out and said, hey guys, the big reseller shops, the guys who really hold the throne, for all of these other sneaker reseller shops and consignment shops below them, they're all going to really shoot themselves in the foot in terms of profit. Because if those big guys all just came out and exposed to the, let's just say, hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of people who follow them, hey guys, the shoes that we have are no different at all to the shoes made in these Chinese factories. Sometimes in a factory that Adidas is contracting or not contracting. Either or. They're making the exact same product at the end of the day, with the exact same materials, not a replication of anything. They're making these products 100% like the products used in retail pairs. Maybe they might be defects. Maybe the materials might be defects, but they're still Adidas. They're still Jordan. They're still whatever other brand. I'm not talking about designer wear. Designer is different. We're talking about Jordans. We're talking about Adidas. We're talking about Nikes. We're talking about these kinds of shoes that are made with abundant materials that anybody can make. Knits, Boost is a bit more proprietary, and just like Zoom is. But for the most part, they're not made with any special material. They're not. They're made with knits. They're made with rubbers. They're made with fabrics. They're made with strings. They're made with that kind of stuff. Abundant materials that aren't rare. What time is it? I don't have my glasses on. It's just now 1 o'clock. All right. If they come out and say that to the public, they're shooting themselves in the foot. They're killing their own game. They completely murder their own game. They discourage this stuff because other resale shops, they're not competing against each other. They have their own clientele and they're going to sell their shit anyway. Their real competition is stuff like this. People are becoming more and more aware of these things that exist. The same shit that is made in the contracted factories by these companies, people are flocking more to these things than the retail pairs that are being resold for $1,000 and whatnot. Foamposite as well is another proprietary material from Nike, but same situation there. These Chinese factories, and we're talking about not just the main Nike factory, we're talking about all of these other factories in China, not just them, got their hands on already made Foamposite material and the soles and the Zoom units, and they're making them themselves for a discounted price. Well, sometimes you might find it for retail, like in a shop. Foamposites nowadays don't really have resale value, but we're talking about Foamposites that do have resale value. You're not going to find them for retail, except for on Chinese websites such as hotcakes.cn. Adidas and Champs agree that their Adidas Yeezy Boost 350 V2 should be valued at $220 because everybody's got to make their cut somehow. There is not a middleman in this situation. Who was it that brought up the middleman? Somebody mentioned that. I think it was Colin Kaepernick himself. So there's one less guy that has to make profit. The only person who's making profit is the factory. And the problem is that, again, these hype beasts and these resellers are making it appropriate. They're encouraging people to buy this stuff for $1,000, for $500, $600, $700, $2,000, $2,500, $5,000, $10,000, you know, and just for them to stunt in a mall, they will go absolutely bankrupt for. It's sad. It's absolutely sad, and of course there are people out there who really have it. I'm not saying that nobody does, but for the most part, nobody really has the money like that. You know what I'm saying? And they wait for their income tax check, or they don't pay their insurance on their car for 6, 7, 8 months, just to have one of these things, and it's sad. You know why? Because in a mall, in an area where you're going to be walking, not just a mall, around a plaza of some kind, down the streets of Times Square, you're not going to be driving on the sidewalk. Everybody's going to be looking at your outfit. Nobody's going to make any assumptions. They're going to look at your outfit and make assumptions of how much you make in a year because you look the part of some of these people. Nobody can see your Yeezys or your Bape sweatpants, or for the most part a Supreme t-shirt while you're driving a car. They're not going to see that. The freaking door is in the way. The whole car is covering you. Nobody's going to see that. You could be driving a Honda Accord or a BMW 760 Li. Nobody's going to really see what you're wearing on your feet or your legs or your torso. No one's really going to see it. They might see a little bit of your torso, but they're not going to see a whole lot of it. But it's a lot easier to stunt in a mall or in a party, in a movie theater, in a public area, versus on the road, where you might have a Honda Accord or a BMW 328i or a BMW M3 or BMW 760 Li or a BMW i8, an Audi R8, a Bentley Continental GT, Porsche 918 Spyder. It goes on and on and on. Those are the only ways that people can really judge how much money you're making. And even then, that is somewhat limited because we have interest plans, we have finances, we have credit approvals, we have all of that stuff that makes these things at least somewhat affordable for some people. I'm not talking about the real expensive stuff. We're not talking about Aventadors. We're not talking about Bugattis. We're talking about the cars that are more obtainable from average people, that are at least made by brands that are more widely recognized as luxury, as expensive, as exquisite, as rich and tasteful. But it's a lot harder to do that than to just put on an outfit and go into the mall and stunt. It's a lot easier to do that. So that's why people do that. This is why some people have no fucking car. This is why some people have no fucking car. They will buy an entire Supreme outfit with the Supreme Louis Vuitton, thing up here, the shades or whatever, and some Yeezys or whatever. They will save a year's worth of salary flipping burgers as... Oh man, who was it that said that? Was it Colin Kaepernick that said that? But yeah, just to buy these things and stunt. And they're the freshest kid at the bus stop, and he also said that. That was funny. Man, oh man. It's a sad society we live in. Stunting is a habit, but so is fronting. You guys seen Scoop 208's video? It's not even his video, it's just the upload that he put up saying, what was it called? When a broke nigga gets the new J's or something like that. And that's basically the whole message behind that. That stunting is a habit, and so is fronting. You broke, you poor, you live in your mom's basement. It's the same situation. Spending $1,000 on a pair of sneakers when you could get the literal same thing for a quarter of the price, for a fifth of the price. It's absolutely insane. A tenth of the price in some cases. The higher end Yeezys, like the Belugas, they shot up in value, at least in terms of Flight Club and Stadium Goods prices. They went from $800 to $1,200, which is insane. And you could get a Beluga version of these, a Yeezy Boost 350 V2, a UA gray market, for $150, $180, $200 at the most. You shouldn't, honestly, when it comes to unauthorized, you shouldn't be spending more than $200 on these, or really any other kind of Yeezy. You should be spending $150 to $180 tops. And that's not counting shipping, but hotkicks.cn, of course, they offer a discount code. It basically takes care of the shipping for you if you order through EMS, which takes a little longer than DHL, but that's okay. A factory / the factory in China is where these shoes come from. All of them. The contracted factory or the other factories that lost their bids, they make these shoes. 30,000 additional pairs came out, but there's so much excess material that there's seemingly endless supply of these things. Come on, man. There's literally no difference between this and that Stadium Goods pair that you saw for 900, not 900, these don't go for 900, but you know what I'm saying, whatever they go for nowadays, like $600, $700. No difference at all. Made with 100% OEM authentic Adidas product / material. But people want to stay away from these Chinese websites because of how they're programmed to think. Buy these hype beasts, buy these resellers, buy the shops and the YouTubers who have hundreds of thousands of subscribers, followers, clientele, whatever you want to call it. And there's so many of them out there that, again, like I said, like dogs, people are being repeated the same stuff. People are programmed to do / think certain ways from repetition. It's all a cycle at this point. People are not going to tell you about this stuff because that hurts their purpose. That's hurting their business. And I'm glad to have these because I love the Yeezy Boost 350 V2. I've never loved it like I do now. I've always liked it. But the more colorways that came out and the more I looked at them, I was like, wow, these are freaking dope. And of course that snowballed into what you see now. I have a pair of Yeezys now. And I love them. They're stupid comfortable too. Like, I've tried them on and my gosh, you wouldn't believe it. You wouldn't believe how comfortable they are. If you could get a pair, I don't care how you feel about how Yeezys look. They feel amazing. They are such amazing shoes to wear. Like I've said in my review. There might be a third video coming up soon of me wearing these out to a public area. Maybe as a social experiment who really gives a quite frankly, of what the I'm wearing. Oh, that's another thing too. Y'all little boys, y'all need to stop worrying about what another man is wearing, man. Like, why are y'all worried about what another man is wearing, bro? You kids out there, you guys need to stop worrying about what another man is wearing, bro. Like, yo, look at the mirror. Look at yourself in the mirror and be like, yo, this is who I am. I judge other men over. I judge men over what they're wearing, bruh. Like, that's not manly, bruh. That's some female shit right there. Yo, man. That's so weird, bruh. And you know what's funny? Before I learned all this shit, 6 months ago, I was the same way, and I'm not just as a person, but as a sneakerhead, as a person who's into shoes, into fashion. I'm growing up in that sense too, not just as a person. So obviously I've grown out of that stupid, look what this man is wearing, and look at that, he's got he a broke boy, look at that. I've grown out of that. I'm 21 years old. Of course, that is the age where hype could get most to you, and of course you might be like, well, yeah, no shit, look what's in front of you. It's not because of the hype. I legitimately like these things. They look cool. For whatever reason, I like stuff that looks different. It doesn't look like many other shoes that exist. The Yeezy Boost 350 V1, I never disliked, but I was never crazy about. I've always liked it, kind of, but not to this degree. And we could talk about hype and whatnot, but to be honest, if that was really true, then I would like the Yeezy Boost 350, not the V2, but the original one, more than I would like this. I would like those more. These aren't necessarily as hyped as they were. Not anymore, and it's funny, it was at that stage where I started to like these, where the hype was dying down, where the resale value was dropping. How odd is that? So again, it's not hype. I love these things. I really do love the Yeezy Boost 350 V2. I'm a sucker for them. My favorite colorway is the Zebra. My second favorite colorway is the Beluga. My third favorite colorway is the Beluga 2.0 that is releasing in October, but I'm going to try and get those a little early. Stay tuned for that. Lillian is the plug! And word on the street is the Beluga 2.0 will be equally accessible as the re-release of the Zebras. I'm excited. Again, I legitimately love these things. These things are freaking dope to me. I love them. I love these things. I love the way they look, and it's not because Kanye designed them. It's because they look good. I don't care who designed them. If they don't look good, I won't like them. And these look good. I love these. There we go. Kind of funny. Depending on the angle, the outsole changes color over here. Are these outsoles colored differently? No, it's just the angle which you shine them on. There you go. I'm gonna exit out of this video. Man, oh man. Guys, I wish you learned something from this video, and I think this video is gonna be ultra fucking long. And I didn't intend it to be as long as it did. Probably I'm gonna have to go back and edit this and see how long it really is. But hopefully you guys learned something today, and building on the momentum that was the last video where I overviewed these and reviewed these and gave these things an A+. But guys, there's more stuff to come in the future, perhaps pertaining to this very pair of shoes, perhaps pertaining to another colorway of a Yeezy. Now, another cool colorway that is unreleased is the Teach Red colorway. You know, that red velvet cake looking colorway? I'm not talking about the violet one that they just showed the other week. It's a colorway that they never showed at all. You can only find it on Chinese websites. Those are freaking cool. The tag on the inside says samples, so maybe they were samples at one point that they just never showed or released or whatever. But again, guys, these Chinese workers, they're the ones making these samples too. I'm getting the F out of here. I'm not going to wear these yet, though. I'm going to wait for the right occasion. But guys, social links are in the description below. Stop by and say hi and get high. Oh, no, I'm just kidding. I don't do drugs. I don't promote drug use. All right, I don't promote drug use.